Service members past and present. If you or a loved one experienced hearing problems or tinnitus after using combat earplugs between 2003 and 2015, you may be entitled to significant compensation. And Lawsuit.us is here to help. There are absolutely no fees unless a settlement is received. We've already helped over 20,000 service members take the first steps towards potential compensation. Time is running out, so don't delay and apply today. Visit Lawsuit.us to file your claim. That's Lawsuit.us. Lawsuit.us.
Joining us now on the Newsradio WFLA hotline, Curtis Houck, the managing editor at Newsbusters. Good morning, Curtis. How you doing?
Good to be with you.
So it's been a really interesting couple weeks here with Twitter, especially Facebook, social media, some of the stories that are being suppressed from potential voters here in the next 8 days, but the Hunter Biden story specifically from the New York Post and the allegations over the emails that Rudy Giuliani claims to have and the FBI has as well, and Facebook, Twitter, there's been a controversy over them allowing that content to get out there. So what are you seeing as far as what information is being suppressed from the people that are going to be voting in 8 days?
Yeah, well, it's a tough situation, Well, first of all, what you're seeing is, Twitter has tried to really clamp down by, I was someone who was suspended from Twitter for having shared the New York Post story, the initial New York Post story, both as a link and as screen caps.
Mazel tov. So welcome to the team.
Yeah. So you had that. That was one thing that happened. And this comes at the same time as Twitter is now adding, you go to retweet a story, and a lot of the stories now have this kind of eyeglass graphic that tries to say, like, want to read the article first, and talking about context and what have you, and not being able to just retweet a story. You got to jump through multiple hoops. They keep trying to make you quote tweet something and then you can retweet. And that all is coming at the same time, which, is obviously really frustrating. And talking about adding context to trending topics. So that's also been an issue as well. And, it's very Orwellian, where you go into these places and you just try to drop a link in and it won't let you do it. It won't let you hit send. It's pretty incredible. My whole mantra this entire time, guys, has been, if something's not true, you want to disprove it instead of just kind of blanket censorship is what you initially saw, a couple of weeks ago now. And I think that's what's concerning.
Curtis, this is Felix Vega. Talk to us about what you are reporting in terms of the donations to the Republican Party and Democratic Party when it comes to Twitter and Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Well, we found that, Twitter and Facebook employees have contributed over 90% to Democrats. Twitter employees made up 98.99% of its donations to Democrats via individual donors of $200 or more. So you do the math then. It was over $347,000 to Democrats and a little just over $3,500 to Republicans. In contrast, and obviously because it's a presidential election year, lion's share of that, or a good amount of it actually, went to Biden as well. So it's that's quite a large number. Last time I checked, so
it's alarming, is really what it is, and it makes people. Realize that the bias that might come into play when you're dealing with social media, it certainly could be true there when you have 98.99%, like you mentioned, Twitter contributing to its donations to Democrats, that be the employees of Twitter. Could that, if you find out that, let's say, a member of Twitter has, an employee of Twitter has contributed a ton to a Democrat, and they maybe are suppressing some of the stories, could that be interfering in the election?
Well, I definitely think so. And the other thing to keep in mind is one of Twitter's main spokespeople worked for Kamala Harris before coming to Twitter. So Ian Pasillo. So the more you know there, that yes, they're one of their main spokespeople had worked for the vice presidential candidate on the Democratic side as well. I mean, and just so listeners know, Facebook employees, it came out to about just over 91.5% of donations to Democrats, with the rest about 8.3% going to Republicans as well. And Biden received over $645,000 from Facebook employees.
Curtis, what would you like to see done in terms of some sort of legislation as it relates to the donations, especially?
I mean, our boss, Brett Bozell, really has been spearheading a real effort to kind of look at these tech companies. And I think the position that he's in, and I think a lot of conservatives are, which is maybe a couple years ago, we could have had this conversation about maybe some, legislation with less teeth, or kind of tried to work with both of these organizations. But now they are so big and they control the flow of information because people are getting their news from there. They're going to legacy media sources or new media, but it's an entryway through Facebook and through Twitter.
Pretty incredible numbers.
To a basic bookmark now.
Yeah, pretty incredible numbers here. Curtis, we are unfortunately out of time, but Facebook and Twitter contributing over 90% to Democrats. Really, really huge number there. Curtis Houck, managing editor at Newsbusters. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem, guys.
It's 7:28 on...
Service members past and present. If you or a loved one experienced hearing problems or tinnitus after using combat earplugs between 2003 and 2015, you may be entitled to significant compensation. And Lawsuit.us is here to help. There are absolutely no fees unless a settlement is received. We've already helped over 20,000 service members take the first steps towards potential compensation. Time is running out, so don't delay and apply today. Visit Lawsuit.us to file your claim. That's Lawsuit.us. Lawsuit.us.